Hello, what's going on YouTube? Today I'm going to show you how you can install a modified version of firmware for your Ender 3 V2 Neo. Now, just so you know, this firmware was originally made for the V2 and S1. The V2 Neo is basically in between both of these printers, so the firmware actually works quite well. This is I believe it's called a Mr. Iscox firmware. I'm not sure. I just know it works. It's pretty fantastic firmware, and it gives you a lot of features that are missing with the stock reality firmware. Um, right now, I'm actually printing with the firmware. I've tested it out for a few hours now, getting the hang of it because there's a lot of features, and a lot of these features are definitely new for me since the Ender 3 V2 Neo is the first printer I ever had, and it's still my current printer that I have. So what you want to do is you want to go over to GitHub. I'll leave the links in the description. This is the main page you'll be greeted with. Now, if you scroll down the page, of course, this is the professional, well, actually, oh yeah, that's what it's called, professional firmware for the Creality Ender 3 V2 and S1. It'll work just fine with the V2 Neo. So you want to scroll down to the Universal Red 6 or RCT6 edition. You should have no problem since the Ender 3 V2 normally runs off the 4.2.2 board. I do recommend you double check you have the version 4.2.2 board by looking under your Neo in this case, and just confirming it just to be on the safe side. So this is kind of an overview of what you get. These are what you're going to be basically working with here. And what you want to do is scroll all the way down until you get to the precompiled firmware. Now, the one that I'm using is the Ender 3 V2 422-BL TUBL MPC, and this is the December 22nd, 2022 version. So this is a fairly new firmware, or at least a fairly updated firmware that was released. So this is the one you want to use. BLT, this stands for BL Touch, so it uses your BL Touch that's on your V2 Neo. So you still get the auto bed leveling, you get mesh, and you get a couple cool leveling features I want to show you. Well, I'll see if I can show you. But you'll basically click here, and once you have it, it's going to show up in your downloads folder. You want to go to your folder real quick. Now, what you want to do here is verify it's a .bin. It needs to be a .bin, and you need to insert an SD card. The one that came with your machine will work fine. Now, if you have a second SD card, that'd be even better because you do need to format it. So the first thing you need to do before you install firmware is format your SD card. It needs to be a FAT32 and the allocation unit size 4096 bytes. Okay, you can do a quick format, it does not matter. So let's go ahead and format this real quick. And boom, we're all set. So what you want to do here is from your downloads, go ahead and copy this to your SD card. Now, at this point, I'm not going to be able to show you not going to be able to show you in outside of this since I'm currently using the software and I'm printing with it. And I just want to let you guys know that you can do it. I don't want to waste anyone's time. So once you have this in your SD card, you want to eject it. Okay. Now, the next step you want to do is you want to turn off your printer. Okay. Make sure it's off. And you're going to insert your SD card where, your SD card goes, right? When you're loading up G code. Now, you're going to insert the SD card Okay, while the machine is off. After your SD card is inserted, you're going to turn the machine on and the machine will automatically load up the firmware. Now, this only takes about 30 seconds to 1 minute. It's very fast. Before you know it, you have the firmware already up and running. You'll notice that your screen changes and you're able to use it right away. Now, after the firmware is loaded and you are booted on your screen, you want to turn off your machine after it's fully loaded and you verify it worked. Turn off your printer, remove the SD card, and reformat the SD card. Okay. The reason being is that if for whatever reason you mix up your SD cards and you accidentally put this one in, it's going to load up the firmware again, and any settings you have, they're probably going to be deleted. So that's what you want to do right off the bat. Okay, at this point, you're all set. That's all you have to do, and you have essentially the professional firmware already installed in your Enter 3v2. And I'm going to show you in a bit how you can use and change some settings, because it'll be confusing, and I'll leave some information here that you can go ahead and copy. All right, so I'll see you in a bit. I'm going to switch to my phone so I can record. All right, YouTube, so we're back. All right, so just to show you that the printer's working and everything, you have that firmware. Now, just so you know right off the bat, this is not the default theme you get when you update the firmware. This is a different one. I'll show you real quick how to get it. But everything's in the GitHub. Like, if you have any questions, like, and this GitHub, there's actually a community behind it. So if you have any questions, if you scroll down, there's a wiki. Now you can actually see details. If you want to get the full guide, just click on how to install the firmware, and you'll literally get step by steps. Like, everything's right there. It's not hard, like I mentioned. It's literally just insert the firmware into your SD card, load it into your printer, and you're pretty much all set. Now, yeah, just to show you real quick, what I did to get the skin that I have right now. You want to go to the main page, which is, you click right there, top, and you want to go to Display Assets. Now, here is, of course, if you want to install, the theme, the icons, you need to remove your screen. There's 4 screws in the back. Obviously, turn it off first, and you'll take off the back cover, and it's going to look something like this. Now, this has the same screen as the S1, at least in my case. Double check on yours if it's the same. So, if you have the same one, which you'll most likely will, this is the theme I chose. So you want to click here in the G92 compilation, and this is the theme you'll get, right? Now, in my case, because I have an S1 screen, it's called the DACAI screen unit. Now, for this one, you'll want to do the same thing. You'll download the file, right? It's going to open up in a .zip, and you're going to do the exact same thing as you did with the other SD card. Here, hold on, because I unmounted it. And you just want to make sure that I'd recommend you format it again. And basically all you're going to do is drag and drop, copy and paste, just like this. You want the folder private. It's going to be called private, and that's it. You're going to eject the SD card, and on the back of your screen, after you take the back cover off, this section right here, you're just going to pop the SD card right there. Obviously, make sure it's off first. And you're going to pop in the SD card in there. You want to make sure the only file in your SD card is the private file folder. And then you're going to turn on the printer. And the printer is going to automatically load the firmware. You're going to have a progress bar. After it's done, it's going to load into your. Look at that, so nice. Just look at that. Very cool. You still get the print time and everything, so that's very cool. So after you do that and you insert the SD card, turn on the printer. It's gonna take. This one takes longer. This one takes like a minute or two, and you're gonna be greeted with this new screen. It's just the same thing. It just has the different icons, and that's basically it. After that, you want to turn off you want to turn it off again. Turn it off. Remove the SD card. Put the back cover back on. Put the screws back in, and you're done. That's all you have to do. Okay, but just real quick, so you know what settings you need to change, because this firmware was, of course, made for the V2. Now, so the first things you want to do is you want to go over to, over to control. You want to go over to motion, and you want to copy my speed, acceleration, and jerk settings. The rest you can leave the same. So you want to just verify your speed is the same as mine. Originally, the Z speed was 5. I bumped it up to 10, and it's actually quite fast when you're doing the bed mesh. But I turned it back down to 6 just because, I don't know. I have dual Z-axis, so I don't think there'll be a problem, but just to be safe, put it back down to 6. You should leave it at 5 if you only have one Z-axis, one Z motor. Now, for acceleration, so 500, 500, 100, and 1,000. And jerk setting should be, originally, it was 12, 12, 0, 4, and 5. But this setting actually works very well, so I'm leaving it like that. Okay, and that's all you have to do. This is the first thing you do, because when you first install the firmware, the Z speed is set to like 25, and that's just crazy fast. You're gonna probably break your stepper motor if you leave it there. So make sure you change this first. It's very important. And after that, you're pretty much good to go. All you have to do is level your bed and set your Z-offset. If you notice here, if you keep going down, you actually get access to a few more options, which is very cool. You get auto home, you get the tramming wizard, which is very good. It's just so easy to level your bed with this. I'll show you how to do it here in a second. You get the Z probe to level your Z offset, and you can build an auto mesh. Now the mesh gets saved to your motherboard, so it does not get deleted after you turn off your computer, as long as you save your settings. So the next thing you want to do is you want to go over to advanced, and you want to go to physical settings. Okay, now I know this is only a 220 millimeter bed, but you need to change this to 230. 230 X minimum position -2, Y minimum position 0, Y X max position 241, Y max position 229, and the Z max position, of course, is 250. Now you want to make sure you get these settings right, because if you don't, your printer head's going to be off. Okay, it happened to me, so make sure you change it to this right away before you start printing or doing anything else. This is the mesh leveling feature. I already did mine, but you can actually choose how many times it goes. So, for example, I have 5 by 5, so you do it 5, 5, 5, then 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, and then 5, 5, 5 for a total of 25 points, which is very cool. The original one only had 4 by 4, and it actually heats up your bed to get a perfect level. to get a perfect mesh. Okay, but actually what I want to do first is, the first thing you want to do before you level your, unless you know your bed is already level. Let me just take this out real quick. Oh my god, look at that. So nice. All right, so the first thing you want to do, because I'm kind of getting off track here, you want to go to, shoot, where is the setting? Bed tramming. You want to do this first. Now, this is how it works. You select bed tramming, you select tramming wizard, and here's what it's going to do. It's going to probe with the BL touch the four corners, or is this a CR touch? I don't know. And it's going to tell you how off you are on each corner. Now, you will need to run this a couple times, maybe 3 to 5 times, and it'll probe the four corners over and over, and it's going to tell you how off you are in each corner. So every time it does one session, it's going to do a calculation on there, and it's going to tell you which one you should level first. So if you're off here, it's going to either tell you to increase it to either lower the bed on this side or increase it. So remember, if it's asking you to lower, this is the front left, front right, back left, back right. It's going to tell you there. Look, it's telling you back right. So this one is the back right. So just do the back right, and it's doing the back left. And I already did this, so mine's basically perfect. And it'll tell you if you're in a tolerance. But if you're not in tolerance, it's going to tell you, okay, you need to raise the left front, and it's going to tell you either raise it or lower it. If it's telling you to raise it, you want to, turn this wheel to the left in order to raise the bed. Or if it's telling you to lower it, you want to roll it this way to lower the bed. And it's going to tell you exactly on each one. So you're going to run this, you're going to press OK, it's going to tell you where. And you want to run the tramming wizard maybe 3 to 5 times. And trust me, you're going to get a perfect bed level. Now, after you do that, you want to go back to advanced, and you're going to create a mesh. So, sorry, let me go back. So advanced, mesh leveling, mesh points 5x5. You can change that if you want more precision, but 5x5 or 4x4 is probably fine. And set the bed temperature to 60. It should have it to 50 by default. Fade height to 2.0. Now, this is where you want to go. You're going to do an auto build mesh, and it's going to probe the bed. At this point, your four corners should be perfectly dead on if you did the tramming wizard already. And after it does the whole probing, it's going to generate the mesh. Then you're going to click save once it's done. And the cool thing is that you can actually view the mesh here, and it tells you exactly how perfect my bed is. I could never get it this perfect. No way. There was no way. So look at how perfect that is. I'm barely off by nothing. So it's just perfect. And that's really all you have to do there. You get a bunch of settings, physical. Oh yeah, one more thing. The printer stats. By default, this comes with 1,000 prints, which is, I don't know why, but you can actually reset that. You just reset print count, and boom, you're set. And right now I only have 8 prints, because I did a bunch of level calibrations, the bed printout, whatever it's called. It's awesome. And you can actually disable your power outage if you want to resume print after a power loss or something. Let me turn off my AC. And you can turn off your LCD, which is freaking great. You can change the colors. I like to leave it by default. I just don't like to mess with that much. It gives me some pretty weird shit. I don't know. And once you do that, once you're all set with your tramming and then the bed mesh, you want to, of course, set your Z probe. Now, in this case, you can just click on the, sorry, I don't think I got it right angle. So you go to prepare, you scroll down to Z probe wizard, you put, of course, the Z2 home. It's going to home it. at this point, you want to have a piece of paper out. Any piece of paper will do. And it's going to probe the bed there. And once it starts doing that, the final probe, it's going to center, and then you just want to shove your paper down there, and you're set. So you want to have, you know, a little bit of drag. Mine is set to -230. Yours will be different. I think mine's set a little too low, but I think it's because it has a little bit of filament on the tip, so it's fine. I know 230 works fine for me. So you want to adjust that until you have a little bit of drag, and then that's all you have to do. You have your preheat options under your prepare and your media. So there is no way right now, at least as far as I know, to get the it will normally show you the you know, the 3D model there, but I can't find a way to do it. Cura doesn't let you save on the profile, right? So you're kind of out of luck there. So after you're done with everything, you want to go back to control, and you want to store your settings, so everything gets stored to your printer. And just to show you, this is the professional firmware version 2.1.3, released on December 22nd of 2022. And that's really all you need to know. That's really all. From here, you're all set to start printing. Oh, actually, no. Sorry. There is one more thing you need to do. And I'm going to bring you over to Cura. So, in Cura, you need to go to your printer, manage printers. Now, this information is also available in for the other 3D slicers. I can't, the Prusa slicers, but basically it should be the same. But you want to go to your printer. You want to manage settings, machine settings. And you do need to add this code here. So right below G28, you want to add this line. So you want to put this line, the M420 S1 Z2. This is to this command right here will use the mesh that you saved from the bed level. So without this command, you don't get the bed. You don't access the bed mesh, the auto bed leveling mesh. So you need this. You need this. Very important. This is the last thing, I'm pretty sure. So after you enter, just add that. You have to, and then you just click X, and it'll save. You're fine. After that, just whatever you want to print out, generate the G code, save it to your SD card, pop it in your printer, and you're good. You're all set from here. Let me know if you have any questions. This is my first day with this. I've only used it for a few hours. I just thought it was very cool. So give it a try if you're sick of the original one, the original firmware. This will definitely give you a lot of options. It's very great. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. Have a nice day.